Hi. Oh, did you just step out of
You
the
look
90s?
cute.
Oh my God. How old are you?
Wow.
You look like a teenager. Wait. Come here.
Wow.
Girl.
God bless.
I love you.
Nice.
Mm.
You need a pimple patch, Mom.
Pimple patch?
No, you need a pimple.
Oh, I need a pimple patch. Oh, rude. You know, I've been used to this kind of honesty my whole life. Sometimes I just want people to lie to me and just be nice.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, I love you.
Something about Coachella 2026 felt different this year. Like the entire festival was one spark away from completely spiraling out of control. It wasn't just about the music anymore. It wasn't even just about the celebrities. It felt like chaos, attention, and controversy were the real headliners. And the strangest part? It all started before most people even realized what they were walking into. Because the moment one major name was announced for the lineup, everything shifted. And what followed wasn't just a festival weekend, it turned into a full-blown cultural storm. The first thing people noticed this year wasn't the music, it was the crowd. From the moment gates opened, something felt off. Lines were longer, spaces were tighter, movement was harder than usual. And then came the real trigger. Justin Bieber's return to a Coachella stage after years away. That alone changed everything. People who hadn't been to the festival in years showed up. First-timers flooded in. Fans flew in from everywhere just to see one set. And the result? A level of overcrowding that people said they had never experienced before. Online, clips started circulating showing tightly packed crowds, pushing and standing room disappearing within minutes. Some people compared the energy to past chaotic concert environments, and even though most of it was exaggerated through social media, the feeling was enough to spread panic and debate at the same time, because once that kind of narrative starts online, it doesn't stop easily. And what people didn't realize yet was that the crowd wasn't even the biggest problem, not even close. As the weekend went on, another conversation started taking over. VIP versus GA. On paper, VIP was supposed to be the better experience. More space, easier access, slightly upgraded comfort. But the reality? A lot of people were disappointed. Many attendees said VIP didn't feel as exclusive as expected. It wasn't giving the premium experience people imagined. Meanwhile, GA, where you'd expect chaos, was somehow where the real energy was happening. But even that wasn't simple. Videos showed people sitting in circles to reserve space, blocking areas, and creating invisible boundaries in packed crowds. Some called it strategic, others called it selfish. And that's when a bigger word started floating around online: entitlement. Because the festival didn't just feel crowded, it felt competitive, like everyone was fighting for their own version of the experience. And while fans were arguing over space and energy, another world was unfolding just a few miles away, a world most attendees never see. If GA was chaos and VIP was divided, the brand houses were something else entirely. Luxury villas, curated outfits, private chefs, gift boxes stacked like movie sets, entire influencer experiences designed down to the smallest detail. This year, more brands than ever showed up at Coachella, not just sponsoring, but fully embedding themselves into the festival. And the content coming out of those spaces looked almost unreal compared to what regular attendees were experiencing. Influencers were posting room tours, poolside content, and brand activations that felt closer to luxury vacations than music festivals. Some people watched it with fascination, others watched it with frustration. Because while fans were paying high prices for tickets, food, and water, influencers were living in completely different conditions funded by brand deals. And that contrast sparked a familiar conversation again. Is Coachella still a music festival, or has it fully become a content machine? But just when that debate was heating up, the focus shifted again. Because one performance was about to dominate everything. When Justin Bieber finally took the stage, expectations were massive. This wasn't just another headliner. This was a comeback moment, and the crowd felt it instantly. Energy was high, phones were up, every second felt like something people had been waiting years for. But the reaction afterward, that's where things split completely. Some people called it emotional, intimate, different from typical festival sets. Others online said they expected something bigger, louder, and more traditional. And then the internet did what it always does. It turned performance into debate. One rumor that spread fast was the idea that parts of the set were structured in a way to avoid certain music rights complications, with segments resembling stylized playback or altered presentation formats. Nothing confirmed, but the theory spread quickly anyway. Then came the merch, because while opinions were divided, sales weren't. His merchandise reportedly sold out fast, with some items reaching prices that made people double take, including one hoodie that became a viral talking point on its own. And just like that, the conversation shifted again, not just about the performance, but about value, because another artist had just stepped into that same spotlight. Sabrina Carpenter's performance became part of a much bigger conversation than just music. Online discussions started comparing artist payouts, rumored festival fees, and headline value. Numbers were floating everywhere. Some claimed massive differences between top headliners and rising performers. Whether accurate or not didn't really matter, because the debate itself was the story. People weren't just watching performances anymore. They were ranking them, measuring them, turning them into data points for popularity and industry value. And that's when Coachella stopped feeling like a festival to some viewers and started feeling more like a scoreboard. But even that wasn't the wildest part of the weekend, because while music was dominating the stage, celebrity culture was quietly taking over everything else. At some point, Coachella stops being about who performs and starts being about who gets seen. And this year, that energy was louder than ever. One rumor that exploded online claimed Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi were seen together at a private after-party during the weekend. No confirmation, no proof, but that didn't stop the internet from running with it. Within hours, fan pages were zooming in on blurry clips, trying to connect dots that may not even exist. Threads started forming, timelines were built, and suddenly a single rumor turned into a full-blown storyline that people were treating like fact. That's the thing about Coachella weekend now. It's not just what happens on the stage anymore, it's everything that happens around it that takes over the conversation. Meanwhile, reality TV and influencer culture collided again when members of the Mormon Wives Circle were spotted around the festival grounds, instantly drawing attention from fans who follow that world closely. It wasn't even about performances at that point, it was about sightings. Who was with who showed up where, who was standing near which VIP section. Every small moment started turning into content, every appearance became a talking point, and the festival grounds started feeling less like a music event and more like a live-streamed celebrity map that everyone online was trying to decode in real time. Coachella became less of a music event and more of a live celebrity observation zone. But while those rumors spread, a completely different type of drama was unfolding online that had nothing to do with the festival itself. Yet somehow, it became part of the Coachella conversation anyway. While Coachella was happening, another storyline erupted online: Alex Cooper and Alex Earl. At first, it didn't look like much, just subtle social media activity that most people would normally scroll past without thinking twice. A repost here, a liked video there, a comment that felt slightly pointed but not direct enough to confirm anything. But in today's internet culture, nothing stays small for long. Those small actions suddenly escalated into something much bigger. Fans started connecting old dots. The history between Alex Earl and Alex Cooper resurfaced, especially their past podcast network connection and how things seemingly shifted after a year of working together. People began questioning whether there was tension behind the scenes, whether something had happened during the transition away from the network, and whether the subtle online behavior was actually indirect messaging rather than coincidence. Then things took another turn. Alex Cooper eventually addressed the situation directly, calling out what she described as indirect posting and repeated online hints, and asking for clarity instead of passive behavior. Her response made it clear she wasn't interested in letting the situation stay vague or dragged out through social media interpretations. And that only added more fuel to the conversation, because now the internet wasn't just watching a possible feud. They were watching both sides respond in real time. And somehow, while Coachella was supposed to be the main event of the weekend, this separate online drama started living right beside it, almost like a parallel storyline running underneath the festival itself. Two completely different worlds, one happening in the desert, one happening on timelines, but both colliding into the same cultural moment and refusing to be ignored. the timing made everything more intense, because while one side of the internet was focused on music and celebrities, another side was locked into a completely different kind of drama. And it raised a bigger question. How much of what we see online is intentional timing versus coincidence? Especially when it all explodes during one of the biggest cultural weekends of the year. By the end of weekend one, Coachella 2026 didn't feel like it had settled anything. If anything, it raised more questions about crowd control, about influencer culture, about celebrity influence, and about how quickly a festival can turn into something far beyond music. And now, attention is already shifting to weekend two. Higher prices, higher expectations, more pressure, more eyes watching everything. Because after everything that happened, the real question isn't what Coachella is anymore, it's what it's becoming, and whether next weekend brings clarity or even more chaos.